Welcome to the Historic Moments channel. Here, every picture tells a story. Don't forget to subscribe to support our work. It really means a lot to us. After departing from Southampton on April 10, 1912, the Titanic made 2 additional stops before heading across the Atlantic to New York. Its first stop was at Cherbourg, France, where it picked up more passengers, primarily first and second class travelers. The next stop was Queenstown, now known as Cove, Ireland, where third-class passengers and some mail were loaded onto the ship. After leaving Queenstown on April 11th, the Titanic began its journey across the Atlantic, bound for New York. The Titanic, just minutes before departure. This is what the Titanic looked like while it was under construction. These are some of the workers who built the Titanic. During its construction, 8 workers lost their lives. And this is what one of the Titanic's smokestacks looked like before being put on the ship. Note the tiny little man in the corner. When the ship was leaving, the port was crowded with people. Fortunately, many of them were taking photos, allowing us to enjoy the spectacle of the Titanic's departure from various angles. Over 2,200 passengers and crew were on board. As the Titanic departed, its massive size caused a suction effect, snapping the mooring lines of the nearby SS New York. The smaller ship drifted dangerously close to the Titanic, nearly causing a collision. Tugboats quickly intervened, preventing disaster, but the incident delayed Titanic's departure by about an hour. Many viewed this as a minor inconvenience, though some later considered it an ominous sign. The world had never seen anything like the Titanic. Here is one of the rarest photos. Unlike most which were taken from the port, this one was captured from an entirely different perspective. And here is the colorized version. When the Titanic departed from Southampton, several small tugboats assisted in guiding the massive ship out of the harbor. These tugboats were essential for maneuvering large vessels like the Titanic in tight port spaces. However, once the Titanic was safely in open waters, the tugboats returned to port, and the ship continued its journey unassisted. Before the Titanic's departure, newspapers praised it as the largest, most luxurious, and safest ship ever built, often calling it unsinkable. They highlighted its advanced technology, opulent first-class accommodations, and the excitement surrounding its maiden voyage. After the tragedy, headlines shifted dramatically, focusing on the scale of the disaster, the loss of over 1,500 lives, and the lack of sufficient lifeboats. Stories of heroism, survival, and sorrow dominated the press, sparking widespread outrage and leading to major changes in maritime safety regulations. This is the last known photograph of the Titanic, taken after it left the port on April 10, 1912. Here are a few photos of the Titanic's deck from different views. There are photos showing that despite the cold weather during the ship's 4-day voyage, passengers wore warm clothing, but still took time to relax on the deck under the sun. On the deck, there was a play area where passengers could enjoy various games, including cricket. Music was a constant companion aboard the Titanic. According to accounts, it never ceased, even in the final moments before the ship sank. Thanks to the crew, they never abandoned the passengers in their panic and continued to fulfill their duties until the very end. While there are no pictures of the Titanic's grand staircase from before it sank, this is what the grand staircase on the Titanic's sister ship, the Olympic, looked like. Here are some photos of the first, second, and third class bedrooms. The first class cabins offered a very comfortable environment, with everything designed to make guests feel as if they were at home or in a luxury hotel. As for the third class rooms, as you can see, they were more modest but practical. Each came with its own wash basin directly inside the cabin. In these photos, we can see what the first and second class dining rooms looked like. As you can see, the Titanic's designers ensured that passengers traveled in a comfortable and luxurious environment. Such interiors were typically found only in expensive restaurants of that era. This was the first-class menu aboard the Titanic the day it sank. Here is the second-class menu. And this was the third-class menu the day the Titanic sank. On board, there was even a fully equipped gym where passengers could exercise during their leisure time. In this photo, you can see two of them. For those who desired, there was also a swimming pool where guests could relax and enjoy themselves. And surprisingly, the Titanic even had a barbershop, offering passengers a chance to freshen up and groom themselves. Captain Edward Smith, a British maritime captain and officer, was at the helm of this legendary ship. There are several photographs of him, some taken alone and others alongside his crew and personal assistants. The liner had a boiler room where tireless workers ensured the ship didn't stop in the middle of the ocean. They maintained the heat and comfort in every room, working endlessly in harsh conditions. There was also a gym on board where rowers practiced their strength and precision, simulating the motion of rowing through waves. Of course, the Titanic had a communication room, the vital link to the outside world, allowing messages to flow between the ship and the rest of civilization. And these are the members of the band that played on the Titanic as the ship was sinking. The icy waters where the Titanic sinking occurred, as seen just days before the disaster, April 4th, 1912. Although it's not officially confirmed, there are photos taken just moments before the ship's sinking, showing different icebergs. One of them is believed to have been the cause of the catastrophe. And according to accounts, the captain himself took one of the final photographs just before disaster struck. Two lifeboats carry Titanic survivors towards safety, April 15th, 1912. And this is a picture of a lifeboat filled with Titanic survivors being rescued and brought aboard the Carpathia following the sinking of the ship. And here are a handful of survivors on the Carpathia after being rescued. This is a photo of some of the Titanic's surviving crew members days after the ship sank. Survivors of the Titanic's sinking sat on the deck of the Carpathia, wrapped in blankets and clothes given to them by Carpathia passengers soon after their rescue. April 15, 1912. Crowds wait outside the White Star Line office in New York to hear the latest news on the disaster. Circa April 15 to 18, 1912. A crowd awaits Titanic survivors in New York. Circa April 18, 1912. Survivors of the Titanic sinking are greeted by their relatives upon their safe return to Southampton, England. April 1912. There are photos of the survivors, though it's hard to imagine the emotions they felt. This is Charlotte and Marjorie Collier, a mother and daughter who survived the wreck of the Titanic in 1912. The Titanic carried around 12 dogs, cats, and some birds, mostly as pets for first-class passengers. A few small dogs survived on lifeboats, but most animals perished in the sinking. The Titanic remains one of the most fascinating and tragic stories in history, a symbol of human ambition and a reminder of our vulnerability. Through these rare photos, we've glimpsed the grandeur and lives aboard this legendary ship. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and share your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.